The Trump administration's attack on European values signaled a historic realignment. In this review, we break down 5 crucial steps Europe must take to stand strong, regain independence, and secure its future. Stay tuned.
The shockwaves of Trump's assault on European democracy are reverberating across the continent. His administration, led by Vice President Vance and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, has made it clear Europe is on its own. America's traditional role as Europe's security backstop is over, and Washington is actively working to destabilize European unity. But Europe has the power to push back. Here are 5 things it must do to secure its future and break free from Trump's coercion. For too long, Europe has depended on NATO and, by extension, the United States for its security. Trump's administration has made it clear that America's military commitment to Europe is no longer guaranteed. French President Emmanuel Macron has already called for a European army, and this idea must now be urgently implemented. The European Union must establish an independent military command structure, create joint rapid response units, and allocate resources for defense independent of the United States. This will ensure that Europe can defend itself against external threats, including Russian aggression in Ukraine. Europe can no longer wait for American approval to support Ukraine. Instead of relying on Washington, the EU should move unilaterally to confiscate the estimated $300 billion in Russian central bank reserves frozen by Western sanctions. These funds should be redirected to arm Ukraine, rebuild its infrastructure, and ensure its sovereignty. If America is stepping away from the fight, Europe must show it is willing to step up. This move would send a clear message to both Moscow and Washington. Europe is not a pawn in Trump's geopolitical games. Trump's economic nationalism, marked by tariffs and pressure on European companies to relocate to the US, is designed to weaken Europe's industrial base. The EU must counter this by strengthening economic ties within Europe and diversifying its trade relationships. This includes deepening economic integration with partners such as Japan, India, and Latin America, as well as investing in domestic industrial policy to keep European manufacturing competitive. The establishment of a European sovereign wealth fund could provide financial muscle to prevent American economic coercion from undermining Europe's strategic industries. Trump's administration has been aggressive in pushing American liquefied natural gas (LNG) exports to Europe, often at the expense of European energy sovereignty. Europe must accelerate the development of its own independent energy policy, investing in renewables, nuclear power, and energy interconnectivity across EU states. A strong, self-sufficient energy system will make Europe less vulnerable to both American price manipulation and Russian energy blackmail. Furthermore, forming stronger energy partnerships with African and Middle Eastern nations will help diversify supply sources and reduce dependency on external powers. If the US under Trump is retreating from multilateralism, then Europe must fill the void. The EU should take a proactive role in global diplomacy, strengthening institutions like the United Nations, the International Criminal Court, and the World Trade Organization. It must also lead peace efforts, particularly in Ukraine, ensuring that any negotiations do not happen over Europe's head. By positioning itself as the leader of the liberal democratic order, Europe can counterbalance the chaos Trump seeks to impose on the world stage. The era of relying on the US for security, economic stability, and international leadership is over. Trump has made it clear that his America sees Europe not as an ally, but as a competitor and possibly even an adversary. If European leaders remain in denial, they will leave the continent vulnerable to both American and Russian manipulation. However, by taking decisive action now, building its own defense, securing Ukraine, strengthening its economy, ensuring energy independence, and leading global diplomacy, Europe can emerge stronger, more united, and impervious to Trump's bullying. The time for hesitation is over. Europe must act now. As the war in Ukraine continues, the devastation extends far beyond the battlefield. Landmines and unexploded ordnance are turning towns, fields, and roads into deadly traps, leaving communities unable to rebuild or even return home safely. At International Action Alliance Ltd., a not-for-profit organization I founded earlier this year, we're committed to changing this. Our demining and contamination assessment project aims to clear these hidden dangers, restore safety, and help Ukraine recover from the scars of war. Your support can make a tangible difference. By contributing to our demining efforts, you'll help provide the tools, training, and expertise needed to clear landmines effectively and assess exposure to the present contaminants in war-affected regions. This isn't just about saving lives, it's about giving families the chance to reclaim their homes and farmers the opportunity to cultivate their land again. Together, we can ensure that Ukraine's future isn't overshadowed by the remnants of war. Let's stand with Ukraine. Please consider donating to our demining project and being part of the solution. Every contribution brings us closer to a safer, brighter future for Ukraine.